What if the most intimidating SUV ever built decided it was no longer enough to be feared, and chose instead to be inevitable? Stay with this till the end, because what Mercedes has done to the G-Class is not a redesign. It's a philosophical shift. And by the final verdict, you may realize the G-Wagen you thought you knew is gone forever. If you appreciate deep, cinematic breakdowns of legendary machines, subscribe now, because this story only gets heavier from here. The G-Class legacy, why this SUV was never like the others. There are cars you notice in traffic. And then there are cars that change the atmosphere simply by existing. The Mercedes G-Class has always belonged to the second category. For nearly half a century, it stood apart from trends, untouched by fashion, unmoved by criticism. While other luxury SUVs softened their edges and chased elegance, the G-Class did the opposite. It stayed square, it stayed blunt, it stayed unapologetic. People didn't fall in love with the G-Wagen because it was sleek or futuristic. They fell for it because it refused to be. It was a steel fortress on wheels, a rolling symbol of wealth, power, and permanence. A machine that didn't try to look modern because it didn't need to, which is exactly why the arrival of the 2026 Mercedes G-Class SUV feels so unsettling. Because this time, Mercedes didn't just refresh the icon. They challenged it. A seismic shift, why the 2026 G-Class feels different. This does not feel like an update. It feels like a controlled demolition followed by rebirth. Mercedes didn't polish the G-Class. They dismantled it, questioned it, and reshaped it into something daringly new. The first glance alone is enough to divide opinion. For some, it's breathtaking. For others, almost offensive. Because standing in the shadows, the 2026 G-Class no longer carries the exact silhouette your memory expects. And that moment, that split second of hesitation, is intentional. Exterior design, familiar authority, rewritten in muscle. At first, your eyes struggle. The familiar slab is still there, but altered, lower, darker, more sculpted. The upright walls of the old G-Class have transformed into angular muscle. The boxy armor hasn't disappeared, it's been sharpened. What once felt industrial now feels predatory. You hesitate, then recognition hits. It still commands authority. The shoulders still radiate strength. The stance still proclaims invincibility. This is not betrayal. This is evolution. Mercedes didn't erase the DNA. They rewrote the code. Obsidian presence, the power of restraint. Clothed in jet black, the new G-Class doesn't shine. It absorbs. This is not glossy, reflective black. This is void-like, a shade that swallows light rather than returning it. Park it beside a Lamborghini Urus or a Bentley Bentayga and the contrast becomes immediate. The others sparkle. They gleam. They beg for attention. The G-Class does not. It sits in silence like a monolith, more intimidating precisely because it refuses to perform. It isn't the loudest figure in the room. It's the quiet one in the corner whose silence unsettles everyone more than noise ever could. Front fascia, aggression turned into art. Move closer, and the aggression reveals itself, not as chaos, but as design discipline. The grille is no longer a simple face. It feels like a shield, sharpened, intentional, menacing without exaggeration. The headlights are narrower now, eyes rather than lamps, focused, predatory. They don't illuminate the road, they hunt it. The vents are no longer passive engineering solutions. They feel alive, carved with purpose, as if airflow itself was part of the design brief. Even the wheels tell a story. They don't look like alloys anymore. They look like weapons forged for motion. This is no longer accidental luxury born from a military vehicle. This is luxury designed to intimidate. Interior transformation from fortress to sanctuary. Step inside, and suddenly, the greatest surprise of all reveals itself. The old G-Class interior always felt like luxury trapped inside a cage. Rich materials, yes, but confined, boxed in, defensive. The 2026 G-Class does something radical. It opens up. Black leather embraces you, not aggressively, but confidently. Smooth, rich, deep, Yet it's the flow of the space that changes everything. The dashboard no longer stands rigid. It sweeps, curves, bends naturally into your line of sight. Screens don't jut out awkwardly. They glide. They belong. Every stitch, every seam, every junction feels tailored like bespoke clothing. Nothing feels mass-produced. Interior lighting, cathedral calm, not nightclub flash. The lighting refuses theatrics. Instead, the cabin breathes with a soft, cathedral-like illumination. It doesn't demand attention. It invites stillness. You don't sit inside this interior. You dwell in it. And that distinction matters. Power awakens, AMG Hybrid V8 experience. But don't confuse sanctuary for softness. Because the moment you press the ignition button, serenity fractures. The AMG-tuned Hybrid V8 does not start. It awakens. A deep growl ripples through the structure. Low, primal, like a heartbeat amplified through steel. This isn't noise. It's presence. Press the throttle and the response is immediate. The machine doesn't drag forward. It lunges. Performance shift from tank to predator. The old G-Wagen always felt like a tank forced to sprint. Powerful, yes, but reluctant. The 2026 G-Class feels nothing like that. This feels like a predator released from restraint. Eager, alert, terrifyingly alive. It isn't trying to impersonate a sports car, even though its acceleration would humiliate many. It doesn't need to pretend. It is its own species, silent until it strikes, devastating when it does. On-road behavior, engineering conducted, not fought. On the road, the transformation becomes undeniable. The weight is still there, but it moves differently now. Steering is sharper, more communicative, more precise. Body roll, once part of the G-Class character, has been disciplined by a suspension system that seems to read the asphalt beneath it. Corners that once mocked this SUV are now handled with confidence. You're no longer wrestling a beast. You're conducting an orchestra of engineering. The sole question, has the G-Class changed too much? And this is where the debate begins. Purists will resist. Some will claim the soul is gone. But look closer. Sit higher. Feel the command. Sense the indestructibility. The soul hasn't vanished. It has intensified. Mercedes didn't erase the past. They proved legends can evolve without surrendering identity. Commanding the world, how the 2026 G-Class dominates city, road, and terrain. What happens when a vehicle doesn't chase attention, but bends it toward itself without asking? This is where the 2026 Mercedes G-Class reveals what evolution truly means. And before we go further, if you value storytelling that goes beyond specs and into psychology, subscribe now and stay till the end, because the final part will decide whether this G-Class is merely evolved or elevated beyond its own legend. Urban presence, the psychology of power in the city. Drive the 2026 G-Class through a city, and something fascinating happens. It doesn't stop traffic. It slows perception. People don't instantly recognize it the way they do the old model. Instead, they hesitate. Their eyes follow it longer than expected. Brows furrow, heads tilt. Something feels familiar, but something feels wrong. This isn't the cartoonish box they remember. This is darker, lower, sharper. Recognition comes late, and when it does, it lands harder. That delayed realization is intentional, because the new G-Class doesn't announce itself with nostalgia. It reveals itself through presence. And presence, when unexpected, is unsettling. Luxury SUVs like the Urus or DBX perform for the city. They flash, they shout, they demand to be noticed. The G-Class does none of that. It moves through the urban landscape like it owns it. Not aggressively, not arrogantly, but unquestionably. You don't feel watched. You feel observed. Authority without volume, why loud rivals miss the point. The luxury SUV space has become obsessed with volume. Louder exhausts, sharper angles, more dramatic lighting. The 2026 G-Class rejects all of it. It understands a simple truth. Real authority doesn't raise its voice. While rivals rely on theatrics, the G-Class relies on certainty. It doesn't need to prove dominance. It assumes it, and the world adjusts accordingly. This is why even when parked, the G-Class feels intimidating. Not because it threatens, but because it doesn't explain itself. Performance revisited, power as control, not chaos. Let's talk about movement again, but from a different angle. Because speed alone doesn't define dominance. Control does. The AMG-tuned hybrid V8 delivers power with a character that feels deliberate rather than explosive. Acceleration is immediate, but never frantic. Torque arrives cleanly, confidently, without the drama that often masks insecurity in other performance SUVs. This G-Class doesn't chase numbers. It enforces momentum. Press the throttle at highway speed and the response is effortless. There's no hesitation, no build-up, no theatrics. Just motion. You don't feel like you're pushing the vehicle forward. You feel like it's deciding to move. Highway behavior where mass learns discipline. At speed, the old G-Class always reminded you of its weight. The new one teaches you something else. Discipline. The steering remains calm, weighted, and precise. Not artificially light, not overly aggressive, just honest. The suspension absorbs imperfections without erasing feedback, allowing you to remain aware without being disturbed. Lane changes feel intentional. High-speed cruising feels unbothered. Crosswinds feel irrelevant. The vehicle doesn't float. It anchors. And that sense of being anchored, of being unmovable, creates a confidence few vehicles can replicate. Command position, why sitting high still matters. Despite all the evolution, Mercedes never compromised the commanding seating position. You still sit above traffic. You still see over roofs. You still feel untouchable. That height isn't about visibility alone. It's about psychological dominance. From this vantage point, the road doesn't challenge you. It submits. Other SUVs may try to feel sporty by lowering the driver. The G-Class refuses. It understands that authority comes from elevation, not speed. Off-road DNA, where the G-Class remembers its bones. Take it off the pavement, and the debate ends immediately. Because no matter how luxurious it becomes, the G-Class still remembers what it was born to do. Sand, rock, mud, riverbeds. It doesn't just cross them, it dismisses them. Engage the off-road systems and the transformation is instant. The suspension adapts. The traction systems predict rather than react. The chassis feels solid, confident, indifferent to terrain. This is not an SUV pretending to be rugged. This is heritage asserting itself. Where competitors struggle to reconcile luxury with capability, the G-Class treats capability as a given. You are not conquering terrain. You are commanding it. Mechanical confidence, why it feels unbreakable. The sensation off-road isn't just grip. It's trust. You trust the structure. You trust the systems. You trust the engineering. Every movement feels deliberate. Every response feels calculated. The vehicle never feels stressed, never rushed, never unsure. This is the feeling that made the original G-Class legendary. And it's still here, stronger, sharper, more refined. Rivals in perspective, why comparisons fall apart. On paper, rivals may outperform it in specific areas. Some are faster, some are louder, some are flashier, but none of them replace it. Because the G-Class doesn't exist to win categories. It exists to define one. The Cayenne Turbo GT may corner harder. The Urus Performante may accelerate louder. The DBX may dazzle with flair. But none of them carry the same psychological weight. None of them feel inevitable. The G-Class doesn't chase relevance. Commands permanence. Evolution without apology, why purists are wrong. Purists will argue. They always do. They'll say it's too sculpted, too modern, too refined. But that argument misunderstands the G-Class entirely. The G-Class was never about refusing change. It was about refusing submission. And this evolution isn't surrender. It's assertion. Mercedes didn't soften the G-Class to please trends. They sharpened it to survive the future. Legends that refuse to evolve don't remain legends. They become relics. The city watches the double-take effect. Drive the 2026 G-Class through a crowd and watch reactions carefully. People don't point, they stare. The recognition delay creates curiosity. Curiosity creates focus, and focus creates respect. This is not instant nostalgia. This is earned intimidation. And when people realize what they're seeing, that this shadowed figure is the next chapter of a legend, the reaction is universal. Silence. Identity affirmed why this G-Class still matters. At its core, the 2026 Mercedes G-Class proves something rare. That intimidation doesn't require noise. That dominance doesn't require speed. That luxury doesn't require softness. It proves that evolution, when done with conviction, can amplify heritage rather than erase it. And this sets the stage for the final truth. Final verdict when evolution becomes authority. The last question: when a legend evolves this boldly, does it risk losing its myth, or does it become something even more dangerous? This is where everything comes together. Not specs, not rivals, not nostalgia. This is about identity. And before we close this chapter, if you've stayed through all 3 parts, subscribe now, because this final section isn't about the G-Class as a vehicle. It's about what it represents in a world that keeps demanding louder, faster, flashier answers. The myth test: has the G-Class lost its soul? This is the accusation that always follows evolution. Has it lost its soul? Has it softened? Has it surrendered what made it special? The answer becomes clear the moment you stop comparing it to the past and start experiencing it in the present. The soul of the G-Class was never its boxy shape alone. It was never just exposed hinges or upright glass. The soul was defiance. Defiance of trends. Defiance of compromise. Defiance of the idea that luxury must apologize for strength. That defiance is still here. It's just more intelligent now. Presence redefined from fear to inevitability. The old G-Wagen intimidated because it looked unbreakable. The new G-Class intimidates because it feels inevitable. That is a far more powerful form of dominance. Fear makes people react. Inevitability makes people yield. This SUV doesn't threaten the world around it. It assumes authority, and the environment adjusts automatically. That's why it doesn't shout. That's why it doesn't sparkle. That's why it doesn't chase approval. It has nothing to prove. Design evolution: why sharpening matters more than preserving. Mercedes understood something crucial. Preserving a shape forever is not respect. It's hesitation. The 2026 G-Class didn't abandon its iconic design. It condensed it. Every line now carries weight. Every surface carries intent. Nothing exists for nostalgia alone. This is not a museum piece. This is a living organism. Sharper, more alert, more focused. The G-Class didn't become something else. It became more itself. Luxury without apology, the interior as a statement. Inside, the message is unmistakable. This is not luxury that begs to be liked. This is luxury that assumes you belong. The space doesn't overwhelm. It doesn't perform. It contains. You feel insulated from chaos without feeling disconnected from control. That balance is nearly impossible to achieve, and Mercedes executes it flawlessly. This is not softness. This is authority wrapped in calm. Power philosophy: why it doesn't need to be the fastest. The performance world loves numbers. But the G-Class was never built to chase numbers. It was built to own moments. Acceleration feels deliberate. Momentum feels controlled. Movement feels chosen. The vehicle doesn't rush to impress you. It waits. And when it moves, it reminds you that power doesn't need urgency to be devastating. Off-road truth: the final proof of authenticity. Take it where pavement ends, and any remaining doubt disappears. This is not performance theater. This is authenticity. Where many luxury SUVs fear damage, the G-Class expects resistance. It doesn't adapt nervously. It doesn't hesitate. Proceeds. That confidence is not software alone. It's structure. It's lineage. It's memory embedded in steel. This is where the legend breathes. Rivals fade: why comparison ultimately fails. Competitors will continue to emerge. They will be quicker. They will be louder. They will be more dramatic. But none of them replace the G-Class, because replacement requires equivalence. And nothing else combines authority, capability, restraint, and myth this completely. The G-Class doesn't need to win comparisons. It outlives them. Cultural weight: why the G-Class still matters. In an era obsessed with change, the G-Class proves something rare. That evolution doesn't have to erase identity. That intimidation doesn't require noise. That legacy doesn't need preservation. It needs continuation. This SUV doesn't belong to trends. It belongs to time. The final truth: what the 2026 G-Class really is. The 2026 Mercedes G-Class SUV is not just an update. It is a declaration that legends don't fossilize, that authority can mature, that strength can sharpen without losing soul. This is not the G-Wagen you remember. This is the G-Class you were warned about. A ghost of tradition reshaped into flesh. A myth given motion. A presence that does not ask permission. When you step out and glance back, one realization settles in quietly but permanently. The old G-Class belonged to history. This one belongs to the future. And the future doesn't argue.